Hey there, and welcome. So, what if I told you that you could actually turn back your biological clock? And no, not with some crazy sci-fi machine, but with a diet that you only have to follow for 5 days out of the entire month. Well, today we are diving into a really fascinating study that suggests this might not be science fiction after all. This whole quest to live a longer, healthier life, it's about as old as we are. And for years, scientists have been trying to crack the code, right? They've been looking for any way to slow down that aging process right at the cellular level.
And that really brings us to the big question for today. Could a diet, when you only have to stick to for 5 days a month, actually rewind your biological clock? Let's get into the science.
Okay, so for the longest time, one idea has really dominated the conversation: calorie restriction. The thinking is pretty simple, really. If you consistently eat fewer calories without, starving yourself or becoming malnourished, you could promote healthier aging and maybe even live longer.
But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. The promise is huge, for sure. But the reality? It's just brutal. It's incredibly hard for most people to stick with day in and day out. And honestly, it might not even be safe for everyone in the long run. So that's really pushed scientists to look for a better, more practical way. And that leads us to this really clever workaround. What if you could get all the benefits of fasting, but without actually having to go through a long, miserable fast? This is where a brand new approach comes into play. It's called the fasting mimicking diet, or FMD for short. And the absolute genius of it is that it's designed to kind of trick your body. You're still eating, you're getting nutrients, but the specific combo of foods sends a signal to your cells that says, hey, we're fasting. This seems to trigger this amazing cellular cleanup and renewal process, and that's where all the anti-aging magic is supposed to happen. So what does this actually look like in real life? Well, it's a pretty simple cycle. For just 5 days a month, you follow this special FMD plan. But then, for the other 25 days, you just go back to eating like you normally would. Then you just repeat the cycle the next month. See? It's designed to be a short-term thing, not some constant miserable restriction. So what are you actually eating during those 5 days? Well, it's very specific. It's totally plant-based. It's high in those good unsaturated fats. We're talking nuts, seeds, olive oil, and it's low in pretty much everything else. Low in total calories, low in protein, and low in carbs. It's that precise recipe that creates the fasting effect. Okay, look, the theory sounds amazing, but this is where the rubber really meets the road. Does it actually work on real people? Well, to find out, researchers at the University of Southern California and Yale, with some serious funding from the National Institute on Aging, decided to put it to a really tough test.
The setup for their trial was super solid. They took a bunch of healthy adults and split them up. You had the group on the fasting mimicking diet, of course, but then you had control groups. Some just ate their regular diet, and others followed a healthy Mediterranean diet. This way they could really isolate what, if anything, the FMD was doing.
All right, so after several months of people following these different diets, the researchers gathered up all the data, all the blood samples, and all the health markers. The big multi-million-dollar question on everyone's mind was, did this whole fasting fake-out thing actually do anything? And the results were, well, they were pretty incredible. The group that followed the FMD saw some really significant improvements to their health. We're talking about things like lower risk factors for diabetes, less fat in the liver, and get this, they even saw signs of a younger, more rejuvenated immune system.
But here it is. This is the showstopper, the most amazing finding of all. On average, the people who followed the diet for just a few months saw their biological age drop by 2.5 years. 2.5 years. And just to be clear, we're not talking about their birthday age. Biological age is how old your cells and tissues actually are on a functional level.
Just let that sink in for a second. This wasn't just about small improvements here and there. The hard data showed that these people were, at a cellular level, functionally younger than when they started the study. That is an absolutely stunning result in the world of aging research. So, what do we make of all this? The potential here is just massive. It's huge. But like with any really groundbreaking research, it's so important that we understand all the details and, of course, the necessary words of caution. Now, here's something that is absolutely crucial to understand. The first thing you're probably thinking is, well, of course they got healthier. They probably just lost some weight. And you know what? That's a totally fair assumption. But the researchers found that these benefits, the better health markers, the drop in biological age, were still there even after they adjusted for any weight loss. This tells us there's something much deeper going on here at the cellular level.
And look, you don't have to take my word for it. The study's conclusion, which was published in the major journal Nature Communications, puts it perfectly. They wrote that this diet shows potential benefits for improving health and longevity by slowing down the aging process. I mean, that is a really powerful statement to see in a peer-reviewed scientific paper.
Now we have to keep our scientific hats on for a second. As exciting as all this is, it is still just one study. And the researchers themselves are very clear about this. We need more research. We need to see if these effects last over the long term and if these findings can be repeated consistently. It's a huge, incredibly promising first step, but it is not the final word. Not yet. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, this incredible research suggests that maybe, just maybe, we've been focusing on only half of the picture. That the future of our health might not just be about what we put in our bodies, but also about when. It's a fascinating question and one that could totally reshape how we think about food. Thanks for joining me.